It's we to have you with us for this wonderful session, and so I will welcome you first, and I will also I'll talk brief about cooperative movement. That of course that's in Marathi because recipients are Marathi, and the audience is also Marathi. So I'll talk in Marathi, and then probably post that I'll invite Mohite sir to welcome you, and then he'll speak, and then you will guide us about today's session. Hope that's okay.
Sure. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. भाऊ सुरू करूयात आपण.
हो करा.
आपण लाईव्ह गेलं.
केलं. हो.
नमस्कार. सहकार चळवळ 2021. मुद्दाम मी हा शब्द वापरते, सहकार चळवळ 2021. गेली अनेक शतकं ही सहकाराची चळवळ चालू आहे, अविरतपणे चालू आहे, राहणार यात तिळमात्र शंका नाही. जसं मी काल म्हटलं की महाराष्ट्रातील सर्वाधिक प्रगती ही सहकार्याने झालेली दिसते, आणि त्याचीच परिणिती आज आपल्याला आजच्या मितीलाही दिसून येते की प्रत्येक गोष्ट ही एकमेकांच्या सहकार्याने, एकमेकांच्या कॉपरेशननी पुढे जात असते. ज्याला आपण म्हणतो की एकमेका सहाय्य करू अवघे धरू सुपंथ, असंच एकमेकांचा हात धरत, एकमेकांना साथ देत, आपल्या विचारांची देवाणघेवाण करत ही सहकार चळवळ गेली अनेक वर्ष चालू आहे, आणि ती याही वर्षी आपण तितक्याच यशस्वीरित्या पुन्हा या वर्षी सुद्धा आपण चालू करतो. खर तर काल मी श्रोते हो म्हटलं होतं, आज मी मुद्दाम मित्रांनो म्हणणार. आता मित्रांनो म्हणल्यानंतर तुम्हाला थोडंसं वेगळं वाटलं असेल, पण काय असतं की जेव्हा अशी व्यक्ती आपल्याला नॉलेज देणार असते की जिच्याकडनं आपल्याला काही अपेक्षित आहे, हे मुद्दा मी सांगतो की आपल्याला अपेक्षित आहे, पण खऱ्या अर्थाने जी सर्व बँकांवरची शिखर संस्था ज्याला आपण म्हणतो रिझर्व्ह बँक ऑफ इंडिया, त्या रिझर्व्ह बँक ऑफ इंडियाचे सरव्यवस्थापक सुपरविजन डिपार्टमेंटचे माननीय डॉक्टर अजित कुमार हे आज आपल्याला मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत. आणि सहकार क्षेत्रातील मान्यवरांची व्याख्याने या आजच्या आपल्या या सेशन मध्ये आपल्याला ते या विषयावर मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत की नियंत्रकाच्या अपेक्षा काय. त्याच्यामुळे आपल्या अपेक्षा त्यांच्याकडनं काय म्हणण्यापेक्षा आरबीआयच्या आपल्याकडनं काय अपेक्षा आहेत हे आपल्याला सर मनापासून सांगते. सरांचा जर बोलायचं तर अत्यंत मला वाटतं बाकीच्यांनी जरा थोडंसं म्यूट वरती गेलं तर बरं होईल. सरांचा रेझ्युमे बद्दल मी सुरुवातीला बोलत होतो की इज बीन एक्सपिरियन्स formal central banker and having worked extensively in supervisory roles, carrying out inspection of commercial and cooperative banks across country. 7 years of experience in knowledge management and training of officers of banks as a faculty member of Reserve Bank of India College of Agriculture Banking in Pune. Provided guest faculty support to national and international institutions and published research papers in reputed international journals and presented papers at several international and national research conferences. अनेक ठिकाणी सरांनी कामं केलेली आहेत आणि उच्च विभूषित असे असणारे आपले आजचे वक्ते. खरं तर आज त्यांचं स्वागत करण्यासाठी म्हणजे रिझर्व्ह बँक ऑफ इंडियाच्या एखाद्या पदाधिकाऱ्याचं स्वागत आज आपण करतोय, तेही अनुभव आपल्या सगळ्यांच्या पाठीशी हा कायम राहणार आहे. कारण नियंत्रकाच्या नक्की अपेक्षा काय असतात, त्यांना आपल्याकडनं काय अपेक्षित असतं, आणि त्यावर हुकूम आपण काम कसं करायला हवं, या सर्व बाबी आणि या सर्व गोष्टी आज आपल्याला अजित सर आपल्याला एक्सप्लेन करतील. मी माननीय मोहिते साहेबांना विनंती करतो की आजच्या कार्यक्रमाचं प्रास्ताविक आणि साहेबांचं स्वागत.
हॅलो, येतोय आवाज?
हो येतोय.
हो.
नमस्ते।
नमस्कार नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। पुणे डिस्ट्रिक्ट अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स एसोसिएशन, इस एसोसिएशन की तरफ से मैं पहले ही आपके हम जो गेस्ट हैं डॉक्टर अजित कुमार जी, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के जनरल मैनेजर रह चुके हैं और सुपरवाइजरी डिपार्टमेंट में उन्होंने काम किया है। सर, हम इस साल ये जो कोऑपरेटिव वीक है वो थोड़ा अलग तरह से मनाना जा रहे हैं। आप कोऑपरेटिव के बारे में बहुत कुछ जानते हैं ऐसा मेरा मानना है, क्योंकि पुणे में कैब में आप प्रिंसिपल करके काम किया है और वहाँ हमारे कोऑपरेटिव के जो कोऑपरेटर्स है उनको ट्रेनिंग देने के लिए उस प्लेटफॉर्म का उपयोग हुआ है। Last 1 or 2 years we are struggling to face the RBI after the amendment in the Banking Regulation Act. RBI expects something from us. We are trying our level best to satisfy the RBI, but there are some hurdles on various reasons, various grounds. Since then, we have tried our level best. We have knocked the doors of the RBI for various reliefs which is required to be granted to this field. We also knocked door to the state government as well as central government and requested to preserve the cooperativeness of the cooperative bank. We have received the assurances, but still we are struggling. Our association is established 42 years back in Pune district, and now there are 50 banks who are our members, whose head office is established in Pune district, as well as there are 60 other members banks are there whose head office is out of Pune district, but their branches in Pune district. We have basically focused to train our staff of the banks as well as directors, and near about 6,000 employees and directors every year has participated in these training programs. We have also tried our level best to give the training what is required to our members. We are also arranging exams for recruitment, as well as we have run one monthly seminar wherein we have published various articles of various eminent personalities on various subjects. We also given written notes to the peoples. We also arranged various seminars of various staffs, directors on various subjects, which is the need of that particular time. And we have unitedly done this work in Pune district. Therefore, in this year, we have decided, after discussion with all the chairmen and CEOs of banks in Pune district, that we have to focus this week on the strong points of the cooperative movement, cooperative banks. That is the theme of this cooperative week. Accordingly, we have decided that we should hoist the flag of cooperation at same time, that is 11 o'clock in every bank. And all the colleague banks had hoisted the flags in their head office. On the same time, we have sent the message in respect of the strength of the cooperative movement to all its account holders, and near about 50 lakhs messages were reached to our customers. Now this lecture series we have arranged. Yesterday, the State Cooperative Commissioner, Mr. Kavadi Sahib, has inaugurated this lecture series, and he has also given valuable guidance to our members as well as viewers. And he has also made expectation that cooperation between cooperatives will strengthen the movement, and it will give strength to the cooperative banks also. Now, this is the background of our association, and now I would like to request you that you have worked in the supervisory department. Now it is our apprehension in our mind how to face the supervisory department. What is their expectation from the bank? Whether they are going to understand us or not. Because in last week, I have talked with one supervisor, and I request him on behalf of association that supervisory department is established in the RBI. Certainly it is for the better administration of cooperative banks. But to adopt the corporate governance and the expectation of RBI, we required some time to improve ourselves, to improve our administration, or whatever is expected by the RBI. In that regard, I request you that we expect that you should throw some light and guide us how to face the supervisory inspection as well as supervisory actions, and what we have to do to avoid this supervisory actions and supervisory inspections. We really appreciate that this move of the RBI is certainly for the benefit of the cooperative banks, but at the same time, it should not be a medicine beyond the disease. That is why I request Your Honor to guide us and our members, banks, in respect of these issues. I hope your speech will be helpful for us and even for the movement of cooperative banks also. I again welcome you on behalf of Pune District Bank Association in this session. And over to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, let me greet all of you on the occasion of this cooperative week. I hope I am audible, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. ये बहुत ही मेरे लिए सौभाग्य है. It's a great opportunity and occasion for me to join the Pune District Cooperative Association's this great effort. In fact, I have been told that the Pune district is not only the cultural capital but cooperative capital of the state. And as we all know, Maharashtra is the leading state as regards cooperative culture and the existence of cooperative. In fact, when we talk about cooperative, we should not restrict ourselves to cooperative. Actually, cooperative means the cooperation, existence of cooperation, and simultaneously existence of high values and ethics. Because in cooperative, you have a lot of autonomy. If you don't have ethics, the cooperative culture cannot survive. And Maharashtra has shown that it is one of the leading states, as we all know. It's a really great opportunity in the sense also that when BR Act amendment was passed, a lot of issues were there. First invitation I got was from the state of Gujarat, for Gujarat State Federation to address certain issues. Then NAFCA wanted me to speak on certain occasions. And today I'm extremely happy that Pune District Association of Urban Cooperative Banks gave me this opportunity to express my views. But let me tell you, shall I continue in Hindi or English? Which one will be better? Mixed, okay. So मैं हिंदी बोलता हूँ. तो मुझे ये लगता है कि ये जो प्रोग्राम है ये लेक्चर नहीं है. लेक्चर मैंने बहुत दिए 7 साल करीब. तो मैं चाहूंगा कि मैं अपनी बात कम बोलूं, आपसे ज्यादा सुनूं, क्योंकि आपने भी जो इशारा किया वो BR एक्ट अमेंडमेंट के बारे में किया. पहले मैं कोशिश करता हूं अगर मैं शेयर कर पाऊं स्क्रीन. तो जो मैंने इसमें आ रहा है होस्ट डिसेबल पार्टिसिपेंट screen sharing. Can that be enabled?
Now you can do, sir.
It's enabled for you, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, yes, sir, it is visible. It is visible.
Thank you. So the
Yes,
topic
sir.
is a regulatory expectation. तो रेगुलेटरी एक्सपेक्टेशन कुछ नया नहीं है, सब दिन से चला रहा है, पुरानी बात है. मैं what I wanted to highlight is a why expectation, and the context is very important. By the way, before I come to the topic, I can also contribute in the great celebration. When we in CAB did International Cooperative Year, we celebrated that. We had so many participants from across the globe. I think one or two from you, they were there. So we had somehow got in from our archives one cooperative anthem, cooperative song you can call. And that we had our musicians, the regular orchestra persons who were coming to, Mr. Kulkarni was coming to CAB. We tried to give music to it. So if possible, I will try to forward it to you. And as you know, all the great people are in Maharashtra only, from music industry, film industry. So you can develop that, and that would be a great thing. So along with the flag hosting, probably that cooperative song, which was maybe some 60, 70 years back, was played when the first cooperative congress took place. I am forgetting the year and exact year and the place, but that is the background of that cooperative song. Hopefully, if I find this, I will forward to you. So coming to the regulatory expectation, as we discussed, this is not a regular class that I will be talking on cooperative, the circulars issued by Reserve Bank of India. But certainly 2 or 3 things I cannot miss out when I discuss with you today. And that is most important being the BR Act, why that amendment took place, and what are the issues of concern that I could gather from you all on this issue. So first, let me tell why expectation. I need not elaborate. As you all know, the credibility, your credibility is the regulator's credibility. Your means not only Urban Cooperative Bank, whosoever, whichever entity we regulate, if they are healthy, they are sound, probably the Reserve Bank is respected only that much. So if the regulated entities, they don't do well, no regulator can claim to be a good regulator. So that is the reason. And the second most important reason, again, I need not elaborate much on that, is that when you give loan to the borrowers, you ask for certain collaterals. And in case of depositors, your credibility, the board's credibility, the credibility of the CEO, that is the only collateral that as depositor people get from you. So that way, the importance is very, very high, and we all look forward. Here, this slide is very important because today, in today's scenario, when we talk about regulatory expectation, probably there is a heightened level of expectation. And here, the key word which I have tried to highlight, and even I have increased the font size, is government. So let there be no mistake that the higher level of expectation is not less from Reserve Bank of India, more from Government of India, maybe including state governments. So when Madhavpura happened, at least 2 episodes, because as you know, failures do happen. It is not unusual either for cooperative bank or for commercial bank. Probably not many commercial banks have failed in India. But if you see outside world, even bigger banks, much bigger bank than the SBI, they are also failing, where risk management is very high quality, everything very professional, they are also failing. So like any business entity, failure as such is not that much a cause of worry. And RBI understands that. RBI never gets enough. But 2 particular incidents which I'm trying to highlight has completely changed the mindset of maybe the top regulator, which is sovereign of this country. And it has, in a watershed moment, you can call it. One was Madhavpura. It completely changed the regulatory perceptions and probably the growth of the sector. Everything got changed. And the second big episode was PMC. So I have deliberately used the word government. So if you understand, some of you who have been very close to politics and the administration may be probably aware that the impact of this failure was so much that probably the government itself has to come forward and take some action. Very recently, only 4 or 5 days ago, I was listening to the Prime Minister. He very clearly made this claim that for the betterment of the cooperative sector, and you may be knowing that at Government of India level also there are some changes, some separate ministry has been created, some very important minister is now looking after cooperative department. And no less than Prime Minister himself said that we have brought in amendment in the BR Act so that the sector blossoms, sector flourishes. And that is at least, that is his statement. Only 4 days back, I was listening to him on the DD News when he was inaugurating certain programs of Reserve Bank of India. So as you know, these 2 episodes has completely changed the complexion and shattered the confidence of all stakeholders in the existing administrative or management system. Now, here, if you see little closely, after the first episode, that is Madhavpura, the actions, follow-up actions suggested by the then JPC, and that has to be implemented. Again, it was no initiative of Reserve Bank of India. It was an instruction from the Government of India or JPC, whatever you call, that was more subjected on the process or working on the board by way of restriction on loans to the board of director and certain other type of things. Then professional management, some 2 professional directors were appointed as a follow-up thing. But this time the focus is more on CEOs. Not that the amendment doesn't talk about the change in complexion of the board, 51% professional director, which was already there for commercial bank. The provision was there in the BR Act that has been made applicable. But what I understand, the focus of Reserve Bank of India is more on the functioning of CEOs. So we have some higher expectation CEOs. But why so? Probably because CEO is expected to act as the frontline warriors in protecting the institutional integrity and sound financial health of the bank. Globally also, most of the time, although the topmost body in any bank is the board, but regulators mostly interact directly in a very routine manner with the CEOs. And obviously, the expectation is very high from CEOs. CEOs are expected to meet the expectations of the shareholders, that is board, customers, staff members, and the regulators, which at times could be a very difficult balancing act. As you have also spoken that sometimes the medicine is very, very bitter, very hard. It is difficult to swallow. So as CEO, they find it very, very difficult how to manage the sometimes conflicting interest of different stakeholders. And that is real challenging job as regards corporate governance also. So the essence of this time, the change that is happening, so many changes have been come. I won't be talking about all, but only a few because of the paucity of times. But the essence is professionalization of governance is the essence of most of the regulatory changes that has happened. So first thing is about the appointment of CEO, MD. Some this qualification has been defined. What type of person can be, appointed as the CEO, MD, whatever name you call, nothing big. MD doesn't necessarily mean one has to be designated as MD only. Whosoever is head of the bank, he has to hello. So this is the now next important thing is that about is 35 to 70. I again won't discuss too much in that. I know where your attention is, so I would be discussing more about that. Then person shall have a combined experience. This is also, you accept it very, very well. The problem starts when it is talking about the tenure part. How much should be tenure? 5 year, absolutely no issues. You are also comfortable. The real issue is this reappointment also. Only the important thing here is it has happened that one time it cannot be more than 5 years. I think there's not much of problem. And then you cannot terminate as a board within 3 years. Real problem is about 15 years. Here I would like to listen to you as well. What is the problem? Problem is there, obviously we understand. This 15 year, in my opinion, theoretically, it is not a bad idea. This cannot be challenged as a principle or as a rule. I don't think it's debatable, but the practical situation is really very, very difficult how to handle it. The problems that some of the banks and some of the CEOs are facing, I appreciate it is a very genuine problem. My sense is that Reserve Bank is also seized with the issue and something they are discussing on. As you are aware, some of the courts are also seized with the issue. One court has probably, one state high court has probably dismissed, but another high court is still, maybe some hearing will take place and something concrete will come out of that. So this issue may be a little bit problematic, that 15 year. I again repeat that maybe in principle it is sound, but then some practical issues are there. There are certain banks very deserving, very good CEO, and the bank is doing very well. If we don't allow them to continue, probably a bank would find it difficult to get a better replacement. That is one point. And the second point is what that particular person will do. If he will not be associated anymore with the bank because of the requirement of a 3-year schooling period, probably it is a little bit harsh. So let us see. But RBI is also sensitive to that. this issue again, you know, no appointment without or reappointment without the permission. One thing I would like to tell here is that other than that 15-year issue, most of the other issue, whenever we say the BR Act amendment has empowered Reserve Bank of India, this is not a correct sentence or a correct phrase. The BR Act amendment, as I hinted you, who amended, who came and brought in all these guidelines, not Reserve Bank of India. Government of India. So if you discuss from a legal angle, I know some of the legal luminaries are also there in the session. I have seen their names. So even if you speak in legal language, other than one or two issues, these the BR Act amendment has thrust a responsibility on Reserve Bank of India. So the phrase that we generally use, that Reserve Bank of India has been empowered much more because of this amendment, probably this is not correct. So certain things we are bound to do. We have no way. Whatever relaxation we can give, that has been separately facilitated or enacted in the Act itself. That provision has been given. But beyond that, we have to do something if we have to honor the amendment in the BR Act. And as RBI, we are bound to that. Like I gave you this example. For tier 1 bank that is less than 100 crore deposit, some exemption has been granted, but this exemption RBI is not granting. Again, I'm telling you, RBI has given this relaxation by the parliament of this country that, okay, in case of 100 crore and less, you can relax. So what I'm trying is, there is no discretion. One or two issue you can debate, like 15-year issue, you will always debate the last. There also there is subtle hint on, and there is certain responsibility on Reserve Bank of India, whether it has, the years have not been exactly quantified, but then if you understand the spirit of the changes or amendment, probably we have to do something. So, but for tier 1 banks also, what we have said is that you have to do something. You have to is valid for you also. Only thing is that you don't need RBI's prior approval for appointment or termination. But as a principle, you have to go by that only. You have to follow the guideline and just inform the Reserve Bank of India. So limited time exemption has been given for appointment of CEOs who has already been appointment as per the earlier RBI guideline issued in regard to a board of management. I'm going little fast because time is very short, but whenever you have any doubt, you can ask in between also, or at the end of the session also. I won't take too much time. Try to finish it off by 6 o'clock. Then maybe from 10 to 15 minutes, you can certainly ask questions. Now I'm moving fast to the other important development that has taken place. So after the governance, now we are talking about the watchdog. Any governance, howsoever good it is, it needs to be scrutinized and subjected to audits or scrutiny. And that arm, that wing was also required to be strengthened. And that we have attempted. Once the BR Act was amended, Reserve Bank has issued certain guideline on appointment of a statutory auditor. So you are all are maybe aware, I need not repeat those things, but only certain thing I will tell, that again, for like in case of CEO, here also there is a concept of cooling period, and there should be a continuity also. So both the aspects have been tried to be balanced. This is all in a way opposite direction. There should be some continuity also, but simultaneously some cooling period or discontinuity also, so that there is a no quid pro quo type of thing, or then the understanding of the auditor is also good. So that type of arrangement has been made. In case of bigger banks, with asset size of more than 15,000 crore, a 2 audit system has been, which may be there for commercial bank, that type of arrangement has been made. Then branch coverage also defined, how much of advances, size of advances, and how many branches has to be necessarily covered under a statutory audit. That has also been defined in the circular. Certain restrictions have been brought in regard to the concurrent auditors. That here something I need to explain to you. In the circular says statutory auditors of UCB and its large exposure should ideally not be the same. I hope you understand this point. Suppose if you have a very big borrower and the statutory auditor, your statutory auditor, is the auditor of that borrower also. So obviously there could be a case of conflict of rule. So this is not desirable. Only thing is that in case of urban cooperative banks, the large exposure has not been clearly defined by Reserve Bank of India. So you may go by the spirit of the guideline. Maybe in times to come, we may define what do we mean. Like in commercial bank, we have clearly defined what is large exposure, but it has not been clearly defined. Obviously, your big borrowers, that has to be, finally, it can be defined only in percentage terms, because the big borrower or large exposure of Saraswat may be different from a 5 crore balance sheet bank. So it can't be uniform. I think the percentage terms, if it is defined or top 10, top 20, that way it is defined, probably it would be better. There are certain more restrictions, like an existing audit firm, the time gap, the third paragraph, that is also important. You may take a look at that. It has not been clearly indicated in the circular. That's why I'm highlighting this issue. The time gap between non-audit works like accounting and bookkeeping, internal audit, actuarial service, outsourced financial service, etc., should be at least 1 year. So 1 year cooling period. If you have done it earlier, they cannot be a statutory auditor of your bank immediately. Or if they have worked as a statutory auditor in the bank, then these works, they cannot take up after finishing the audit work. So that cooling period is required. But certain relaxations are also there. Again, this is not really clearly indicated in the circular. Then maybe service like tax audit, tax representation, these things they can do simultaneously also, no cooling period required. Now I'm going to the third point, which is very important, probably most relevant in view of the cooperative week. This is a global of the hour. I had certain occasions to study across different countries also. This is the new reality. One has to accept it. The merger amalgamation in India is, the culture is very, very poor, particularly in regard to good bank. Bad bank, good bank, or rather weak bank, a strong bank, that type merger is not very bad, in the sense that the data suggests that around 30 to 35% banks do opt for merger, but only when they find it existential crisis and they feel that there is no chance of revival, then they opt for it. But usually a small size good bank, another small size good bank, they don't feel ever like merging. And this reality has come out of maybe the technological development. Technology does need certain scaling, certain size. If you want to have ATM or not credit card, that may be too much, but some CBS or something, some size is required. I had an occasion to do some study along with one of the faculty of CAB. Then in that study, we found that the bank's failure in India is much more who have been given license after Marathi committee recommendation, which was a very liberal licensing regime. So a small capital, very, very weak capital, weak, I'm saying in quantitative terms, that also creates a lot of problem. Obviously, CRAR is the real thing. When we say capital, we do not meet the absolute amount, but absolute amount too is important. If it is very, very low, probably it is unable to absorb the shocks. Whenever there is some problem, some fraud, or some big NPAs, it creates problem. So one has to be very cautious about that. So size probably is very important. Recently, we had constituted one committee headed by former Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India, Mr. Viswanathan. He has also talked about size, that minimum size for very small tier banks should be minimum 2 crore or 5 crore, depending upon situation. My sense is, personal opinion, no good study has been done. Let me say that. If some of you can think of on those lines, I would be very happy. I also tried to do, but I failed. What should be the optimum size? Probably as practitioners, you can do a better research work. I have also done a lot of research papers I have produced in some magazine or international journals also. This particular aspect I failed to study. But my personal sense is, without any empirical studies, probably 10 crore should be the minimum capital requirement for any cooperative bank. But I can't give much of justification on that. Why I'm saying 10 crore, why not 15, why not 5? Because committee has recommended 2 crore and 5 crore. Anyway, so this merger, again, there is a big change in the post-BR Act amendment. The important thing is that we do not need the permission of registrar. That is the only change. It is all about voluntary merger. It is not about forceful merger. Forceful merger is still not very easy thing to do. That RBI never wants to do also, let me be frank with you. We don't want to really impose. So the only scenario has changed is that instead of the taking permission from the registrar of cooperative society, now RBI is empowered. So earlier what was happening, we were giving NOC and the registrar was sanctioning the merger. Now that is no more required. We will do it ourselves and we will just inform the registrar. That is the big change. But it is all about, the circular is also about voluntary merger, not forceful merger. It is not the case that the amendment doesn't talk about forceful merger, but that is not a very easy thing. The second paragraph clearly says that for this we need to approach central government for suspension of business for banking company, and that applies for cooperative also. Again, you know, there are certain issues of constitutional issues are there, whether central government is empowered or not. Cooperation is a state subject. Hopefully some courts will, my sense is that this type of litigation should straight away go to Supreme Court, not High Court. My legal understanding is that ideally if any legislative changes has taken place, and if that is being challenged, the appropriate court should be Supreme Court. But certain high courts have entertained those type of petitions. Let us see which way it goes. Now, 2-3 important changes that has happened post-BR Act I have finished. Now let me talk about some general expectations. Hopefully I will finish in another 15 minutes. So what are the other important, that this is more less of a regulatory, but is more of a supervisory expectation. That is about data accuracy and data integrity. That is a big problem. Sometime whenever RBI inspection goes to your banks, obviously no inspection is always a welcome inspection. I have also faced in my life a statutory auditor who conducts this audit of Reserve Bank of India, and then some other inspection, audit, internal, external. There is always a gap between the understanding of the auditor and the practitioner. So when I talk here, I've never found any statutory auditor of Reserve Bank or any other audit, maybe concurrent auditor or something, who has the complete understanding of the working of Reserve Bank of India. Because there are not many Reserve Bank of India in the country, only one. So how can they gain experience? And they cannot continue for more than 3 years. So, but at the same time, I realized that when our inspector goes to you, you may also find the same gap between your expectation, your understanding, and the understanding of the Reserve Bank inspecting officer or the statute. That always happen. So one has to take this, accept it in this stride, that yes, this type of difference opinion, so more of dialogue, understanding that is required. Reserve Bank is doing a lot on that. We have recently established a college of supervisor where I was working. And that is for an internal arrangement, although RBI already had colleges. Our staff college is in Chennai, Reserve Bank staff college. CAB is mostly for external client, but for cooperatives, we do training for our own people also in CAB, because the amount of experience that CAB gets through you people, because they are always in touch with the cooperative banks, and unless they understand you, they can't be a good faculty or a good training center. So keeping that in account, one exception has been made. Even internal training for cooperative banking or urban cooperative bank is done at CAB. Otherwise, all other trainings are being conducted at RBI Staff College, Chennai. But other than that, post these episodes that you understand, we also try to improve ourselves. Somehow we feel that at least these failures put a if not the legal responsibility, at least the moral responsibility in a big way on us also. We too have failed somewhere. That we realize, and we have constituted a college of supervisor, and that is working well. A lot of training, understanding, all these things are being given to the inspectors so that they may come on the same page as the practitioners are. The gap between the understanding of the practitioner and the supervisor should not be used. It should be minimized to the maximum possible extent. Then the expectation is that things are moving. Everything we talk about, credit risk management, operational risk, market risk. So these things earlier, I was also not very comfortable, as you might have found in my CV. I had an occasion of inspecting more than 100 branches of commercial bank head offices. SBI had a local head office, that also I did. So when these guidelines were being issued, that was the time these guidelines came for commercial bank. I thought, what is big change? But slowly and slowly I realized, yes, it is not only for namesake, it has certain meaning. Risk management is really very, very important. One example I would like to give, I generally ask this question to my participants whenever I do a session, and that gives enough sense what is the difference between traditional credit management and credit risk management, and that will go on for operational risk, every risk. So when I ask my participant, what is the difference, tell me, credit management. Earlier also we were doing all examination, credit appraisal, everything. Now also we are doing same process. Which way? Just by adding the risk, which way it changes things. So it's a not only a psychological thing, but yes, it gives a direction. So I answer this question myself in the sense, when we talk about credit management, we talk about the probability of repayment. But when we talk about credit risk management, we talk about the chances of default or the likelihood of default. So this is a small, very nuanced difference. Makes a lot of, talks a lot of things. How do we? Because when we think of default and focus more on default, 2-3 things will emanate from them. One is the risk mitigation. Unless you think of the default probability, you won't think about the mitigation of risk. And then the pricing of product. Probably we will not be able to give loan at the same interest rate if their borrower is not too good. Because if we think of giving loan only to all AAA rated borrower, then probably we have to decide when are we closing the bank. Our cooperative banks cannot survive on AAA rated loan. So if we choose that all our borrowers will be A category, then better we decide which day we have to the reverse of flag hosting, which day we have to close the bank. So we have to take a very calculated risk, and that is the essence of banking. Unless you take risk, but how much risk, and that is a big subject, then we can discuss some other day. So, but then what I'm trying to highlight is that everywhere the risk is important, then we have to segregate business line with risk management and compliance and the internal audit function. So the next important thing after we're talking about the statutory auditor is the internal audit function. That is very, very important. And one has to give a lot of importance to internal audit. I always, in a lighter vein, we always told banks, a bank which is not offering tea and lunch to their internal auditor cannot do well. Because when RBI people come to you, you offer tea also, lunch also. Some of them enjoy that, some of them may not be taking also, but then you'd always offer. This I know for sure. What about your internal auditor? Do you give that much of respect or importance, significance to them or not? If not, probably you are missing out an opportunity of availing the services of your family doctor. So if family doctor fails, the external doctor will always give you a very bitter pill. I am using the same terminology what you used earlier. So just to avoid the bitter pill, prefer homeopathy or Ayurvedic treatment by the internal auditor. That will be the best thing. So the risk management function should be headed by Chief Risk Officer. That also, I think the circulars guidelines have been issued. This culture, risk culture has to be injected slowly and slowly. We are also, our Reserve Bank is also in no hurry, but then we expect these things from the supervised entities. So internal audit function in banks, I have already discussed. Senior management should give, and good people should be posted to audit department. Usually what happens, the person who is not fit for any job, this I am talking about commercial bank as well. Two posts are reserved for not so good people. One is may I help you counter. So the person, actually may I help you counter should be the person who knows everything. He may not be the expert, but he should be jack of all trade. That type of person should be posted to the inquiry counter or customer help counter, but the reverse is true here. And similarly, whosoever is not fit for loan department or other department is posted to audit department. This is a fact. I'm more talking about commercial bank, less about cooperative bank. So the senior management should ensure that the internal audit function is adequately staffed. These things are. Then the internal audit should assess and make appropriate recommendations to improve bank's governance. Here also our expectation is CAB had done a program also on risk-based internal audit. Lot of things have to talk. I had also an opportunity to discuss with those people. I think it is not really risk-based. So how do we decide risk? If some bank has very high NPA, we feel that it is a highly risky bank. My sense is it is not true. If the NPA of a particular branch is 70%, I think the risk has already played out. It is no more risky. What more will happen to that branch? So nothing to worry. You simply go there and start your recovery measures. The problem is if some banks loan growth is very, very high. I don't want to disclose certain internal information of PMC bank, but then you can make out. The growth of loans and advances was very high and there was no NPA. And in a particular branch, that was the risky branch. If we do risk-based internal audit, we have to focus on those branches where the growth rate of credit growth is abnormally high and NPA is abnormally low. That should be your cause of worry. So then again, I cannot talk much on that, time doesn't permit, but we can have some time discussion. What should be the ideal way of internal? Again, suppose some bank has 8% NPA, whether it is risky or not, and some bank is 6%. Which bank is riskier? Maybe 8% could not be riskier. Why? This 8% had earlier 12%, now it is 8. But the 6 wala person, earlier it had 4, now it is 6. So again, the risk direction has also to be examined, where the bank is moving, whether the bank is moving from 12% NPA to 8% NPA, or it is moving from 2% NPA to 6% NPA. So the direction, everything, lot of things are to be examined. Then probably slowly and slowly we can develop the culture of risk-based internal audit. It's not an easy thing. I had an occasion to talk to commercial bankers also. I think it is most of the banks, it is only namesake risk-based internal audit. The criteria, parameter, they are not very sound in my personal opinion. I can't give official opinion. So that is, then compliance culture has also to be improved. Generally, we say noted, will be done. This is not acceptable compliance. So suppose I'm giving an example, the RBI inspector or auditor has found out that a stock statement was not obtained in certain cases. Now they may be quoting only 4, 5, 6 instances because they may not be able to see all the cases. That doesn't mean you correct the stock statement, take a stock statement from those units and then you forget and you say it is complied. So only some indication can be given and then you have to. So this is all. I think I have finished well within time. Now we have good enough time left with you to interact because that is the real thing. What is one by one, if you ask questions and if I could give some answer to your issues and understand your problems. My sense is that since I had so many other occasions to interact with you, PR Act amendment, other than the 15-year issue, I don't think a lot of issues are there. And the sector is mature enough to understand that some of the actions a regulator or the government has to take and some binding is required. I'm giving you one example. Suppose some of you may be doing yoga and you engage, you employ one yoga teacher. Is it required? It is not required because in TV also there are so many yoga classes and 1 or 2 times if you do training, you need not a regular coaching type of thing. But why do you do? Just to keep in yourself in discipline. If you don't engage somebody, one day you will do another day, अरे आज बहुत पानी पड़ रहा है, कल रात में देर से सोए, आज छोड़ देते हैं. So to inject those amount of discipline, some amount of regulatory restrictions or this type of thing is required. Then since it is a cooperative bank, cooperative week rather, so just not limiting myself to the regulatory aspect, I would also request you that let us try to create a cooperative identity. Cooperative should be little bit different from commercial bank. The regulator has done something. Maybe again you may find it a bitter pill, and that is your this priority sector lending criteria has been significantly advanced. If I be frank enough with you, probably it is also too much. I thought 60% is good enough, 75% probably is tough on you. But still one has to think, if I am a cooperative bank, what should be my niche market? What should be my, should be commercial bank, similar to commercial bank or something different? I don't mind any commercial bank being very, very big, whether it is Saraswat, because there are cooperative banks in the world who are multinational cooperative bank, but still they have a cooperative identity, because they are, if you see their portfolio, they are restricting themselves to the agricultural lending or something. There is one more area where you can create your identity, and that is similar to social banking. I won't talk much on social banking because my paper is already submitted to CAB calling, and they have a conference. So where I would be speaking on social banking, but I can give you some hint. Try to differentiate. These days, climate change, global warming, these are real issues. They are no more for the purpose of oratory speaking or something. They are real issues. If we can think of something, maybe the time will come, then you will have a lot of electric vehicle coming. If you can think of providing loans at a discount or a preference way on to electric vehicle, maybe four-wheeler, two-wheeler, whatever comes, or similar things, and you decide, choose to not to give loan on highly polluting industries. In industries generally, in any case, you don't give loan. But then I'm just giving you subtle hint. There are ways you can think on them. So how to be socially more significant, socially sustainable? These things, just before I conclude, I would like to just throw these ideas through before you. Probably you have 3, 4, 5 more days before we conclude this cooperative week, and we do some brainstorming, which way the cooperative sector can develop its own identity other than the governance part. Governance, obviously, we have a separate system of governance that is always there, because no other time cooperative was more significant than today's time. This, if you go outside, you will realize. In I'm forgetting the year, in some 10-year back in London, there was an organization called Global Alliance of Value-Based Banking. A lot of the members are there now, but unfortunately, no cooperative bank from India has joined that global alliance. I found only one member, that is a small finance bank from southern part of the country. They are the only member. And now, how much they are actually doing social banking, I don't know, but they are the accepted member of that that organization. But I had an occasion to visit some social banks. Their employees are also coming by bicycle only. They are not permitted to come by scooter. That is in Germany. Despite being so developed country, no employees can come to the bank by other than bicycle. No scooter. No, only bank has only single car. An employee needs that car would be made available, emergency things or something, but they cannot have this. So this type of thinking I'm just putting across your mind. This is an important week. And I'm so happy that Pune District Association is celebrating in its own way. You know, this cooperative can never die. This importance will increase only given the time scenario. The more the greed for money, power, development, more will be the requirement of cooperative thinking and this type of banking. So thank you very much. I stop here. Once again, I thank all of you. And I wait for some of the questions which I can take if time permits.
Thanks, sir. The participant है, उनसे request है, you raise your hands if you want to ask any question. to the Ajit Kumar sir.
Okay, if participants are like still preparing for the question, is it okay if I'll ask a question? So, though I'm the host of this show, it may not be directly related to the banking sector, but then yes, being a customer, may I go ahead and may I ask that question, sir?
So nothing is audible. Somebody said something.
So I was saying that I'm not directly though I'm the host of this particular session. Being a moderator, go ahead and can I ask a question?
Okay.
So, sir, my question here is like there is
Little louder. It's not, earlier it was quite
Louder.
audible when you spoke.
थोड़ा
Now,
जोरात बोला.
now better. Yeah.
I was saying that being a host, I mean I have some questions in my mind.
Okay.
So generally we have seen the trend of the banking.
जोरात बोला जरा.
Hello.
तो आवाजच नाहीये.
आता येतोय का?
कमी बारीक आवाज येतो तुमचा.
I am also muting myself. So everybody mutes, probably it would be more clear.
Okay, so I was saying, sir, that we have seen the trend of total banking, as in like private banks as well as cooperative banks, and there are banks which are like multinational banks. So I really wanted to know. First of all, I really want to thank you to guide us and throw some light on integrity and transparency, then data protection, then what are the precautionary measures we need to take. And also, I'm very thankful for your insights about, we try to inculcate that knowledge about the things which you talk more specific about integrity. Okay. Now, my question here is about like, in today's world, we have seen there is lots of competition in terms of, private banking as well as cooperative banking. Now, we have seen as in like a customer, if I'll go to in a private bank and if I'll approach for any loan, they're just looking for a customers, okay, and they will immediately approve that loan. So what are are there any specific different guidelines it's been allotted for a private banks and for a cooperative bank? Because cooperative banks are more vigilant and they're doing more search, or like they're be very careful and very specific to the documentation part. This is my first question, that are there any specific different guidelines, and what are the best of the best practice what cooperative banks can follow, so that they can stand themselves in front of these private banks?
Okay. So a very good question. Both the questions are very valid question. The answer to the first one is that this is a mistaken belief that public sector banks, they do very good scrutiny of loan proposals. Cooperative banks do very good proposal of loan scrutiny, and private sector bank do not do. That is not the right approach. Suppose every day, if not every day, every alternate day, I am getting a phone call from some private sector bank that you have been sanctioned 10 lakh rupees credit card. Do you think they have not assessed me? They have thoroughly assessed me. They know everything about me. They know my salary. They know where I am working and what is my cash flow, repayment capacity. So technology has made, they are also watching my credit card repayment behavior very minutely. So it is not correct to say that maybe their process is speedier than maybe public sector or cooperative bank, but they are not examining anything is not correct. They are using technology. Some of the banks are using artificial intelligence, machine learning. May not be always correct because they have also some problem in different countries. Machine learning has still to mature everywhere. But the processes, those are the processes they are adopting and they are doing. They are silently doing. And another important thing is, which I always tell to cooperative bankers also, why do you sanction loan? Sanction word itself has a loaded meaning. If you say I am sanctioning the loan, then it means you are a master. Because when somebody goes to you and deposit their money, that time you don't use the word sanctioning deposit. You are not sanctioning deposit. So this sense has to go. You no more has to sanction the loan. the borrower will sanction you his own loan. Means that you have to have an aggressive approach. You have to reach out to the borrower, like some of the private sector bank they decide, they determine who are our potential customers, potential good borrowers, and they approach them. They go, sir, mere se loan le lijiye. So they don't use the word sanction. Maybe the sanction word is a legacy, that terminology that may continue. तो ये अगर हम करेंगे तो हमारा स्पीडी ही काम होगा. Because what you have done, you have already assessed the borrower. Now you are reaching the borrower कि आप हमसे लोन ले लीजिए. And since you have already assessed, it will not take more than 5 minutes to grant them, that person, the loan. So that is the beauty of the new generation banking. हमको borrower खोजना है. Borrower मेरे पास नहीं आएगा, हम borrower के पास जाएंगे. आप देखोगे प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक का जो ब्रांच मैनेजर का केबिन है वो बाकी ऑफिसर के केबिन से छोटा होगा, 2 कुर्सी से ज्यादा नहीं. एंड इट्स वेरी साइंटिफिक थिंग. When I talk on customer relationship management, I always ask this question: how many chairs should be there in front of the branch manager? SBI में जाओगे तो उस SBI का AGM का केबिन हमारे RD के केबिन, हमारे गवर्नर के केबिन से भी बड़ा है. तो अगेन उसका लेगेसी है, वो ब्रिटिशर कब कैसा किया. That is not the way. You have half a day, you have to be in the marketplace. Then you are a good branch manager. केवल आप ब्रांच में बैठे हो, then you cannot be a great branch manager. So this is about business. जो new business model है उसमें you have to be very aggressive. अब वो culture अभी नहीं आया है probably. And what was your second question?
My second question was, what are the best things? What are the best practices?
Best practices will not be proper for me. I have visited so many cooperative banks. Generally speaking, most of the banks are good. Only thing my sense is, in times to come, unless you have also adopted very high level technology, the competition is still not there, or rather I would say the blue ocean still exists if you go for microfinance. Now I remember Mr. Pongshe is also connected. Cosmos had tried in a big way to enter into the microfinance area. It is also not very easy thing. It needs a special kind of expertise. But that is the area where the competition is only coming from a small finance bank. Commercial banks are not really competent enough to give you tough time in the microfinance area. So if that route you adopt, and there your interest margin or NIM will be very, very good. Obviously cost will also be very high, but finally you can protect your NIM, because you may charge even 20%, the borrower will happily pay you. Some of the RBI people may call it exorbitant, but in my sense, it is not exorbitant. If a small ticket loan you provide, obviously your interest rate has to be higher. It cannot be same as loans to Ambani or Adani's. It cannot be on that interest rate. It has to be higher. तो मुझे लगता है कि उस एरिया में कोऑपरेटिव बैंक को थोड़ा रास्ता निकालना पड़ेगा. छोटे छोटे लोन और उस तरह के क्लाइंट्स एंड कस्टमर, कुछ निश मार्केट क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा. बड़े वाले में कहाँ पे स्कोप है वो भी देखना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज योर कस्टमर सर्विस इज योर यूएसपी. कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का रियल स्ट्रेंथ है कस्टमर सर्विस, योर डिलीवरी mechanism, and your personal you can say equation, the personalized personal touch that you adopt. That is the beauty of cooperative banking. तो वो हमारा स्ट्रेंथ है. उस स्ट्रेंथ को हम कहाँ तक आगे ले जा सकते हैं. जो टेक्नोलॉजी बेस्ड कस्टमर है वो प्रोबेबली हमसे इतना खुश नहीं रहेगा, बट देयर आर सर्टेन टाइप ऑफ पीपल हु कम टू ब्रांच दे आर लेस वरीड कि उनका काम आप सेम डे करते हो कि नहीं. दे आर मोर इंटरेस्टेड कि आप उनसे बिहेव कैसा करते हो. अच्छे से बिहेव कर लिया, चाय पिला दिया, काका चाचा रीजनल लैंग्वेज में बात कर लिया, दे आर सो हैप्पी. तो जो हमारा स्ट्रेंथ है, और मुझे लगता है कि अभी आने वाले समय में कम से कम 20-30 साल तक वन एरिया है मार्केट में जहाँ की कंपटीशन नहीं है और समय लगेगा. So that's why you find small finance banks are growing at a speed of 70%, 80%. That is the growth rate of the sector as a whole. That is because most of them have converted from microfinance NBFCs to a small finance bank, and they are doing extremely well. वहाँ पे खतरे भी हैं, लोन भी जैसे कोविड टाइम, बट कोविड टाइम you forget about that. That was in a normal time. But other than that, generally they are doing very well. NPA is very low. कोऑपरेटिव के अंदर भी इस तरह के अप्रोच रखे हैं, कई लोगों ने कर रहे हैं. अच्छा चल रहा है और अब हमें सेटिस्फेक्शन भी मिलेगा कि हम जिस चीज के लिए बने हैं कम्युनिटी के लिए, वी आर डूइंग समथिंग गुड फॉर द कम्युनिटी। एनी मोर क्वेश्चन?
सर ज्यांना क्वेश्चन्स असतील त्यांनी हात ते हँड रेज ऑप्शन असतं झूमला, ते करायला सांगा प्लीज.
चैट बॉक्स में देयर आर सम सजेशंस, बीआर एक्ट अमेंडमेंट तुरंत पॉसिबल नहीं होगा, यू नो आरबीआई gives you time, मुझे बोलना नहीं चाहिए, but whatever timeline we fix, the initial phase we are never very strict on that. We understand everything cannot be implemented, so the time तो है, time है, धीरे धीरे करेंगे. I think this industry and cooperative banking segment, they are also waiting for some good decisions. We are also waiting for some good decision. I don't know which will finally the verdict, jury is out, which way the verdict will come, but yes, we are not very, I don't think the Reserve Bank is very in a very haste. Anybody else, please?
Hello, sir.
I think there is no question, so we can finish it. Time हो भी गया है already.
Hello.
आहेत ना ऑडिबल.
Hello.
हो जातोय ना, मला इथे बघा, ऐका प्लीज झूमला.
Hello. But it is one request is there.
Yeah.
Hello.
सर तुमचा आवाज येतोय, मोहिते सर तुमचा आवाज येतोय.
नहीं, सरांना जातोय का?
सर आपको मोहिते सर का आवाज आ रहा है? अजीत सर
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, is quite very
Sir,
audible.
एक रिक्वेस्ट था, if it is possible, can you share your PPT to the association?
No problem.
Huh?
No problem. I'll forward.
एक दूसरा क्वेश्चन था थोड़ा.
हाँ.
अभी आरबीआई सेक्शन 35A के तहत एक्शन लेती है बैंक के ऊपर, कोई भी बैंक रहेगा, उसमें लिक्विडिटी के हिसाब से कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शन डाला जाता है रकम निकालने के ऊपर, लेकिन उसका एक दूसरा परिणाम ऐसा होता है, जो उस बैंक के रेगुलर बोरोवर्स है, they are the sufferers for this, because one fine morning their transactions were closed. और जो रेगुलर कस्टमर है, जो व्यापार कर रहा है, धंधा कर रहा है, उसके चेक्स जो भेज दिए हैं वो बाउंस होते हैं, उसका बाजार में जो क्रेडिट होता है वो खत्म होता है, और वो कस्टमर जो है वो टाइम बिंग वैनिश हो जाता है, कुछ डिफॉल्टर हो जाता है, और उसको दूसरा कोई बैंक भी कर्जा नहीं देता क्योंकि उसका सिविल रिपोर्ट खराब हो गया, और उसका धंधा जो है वो उस बैंक के हिसाब से बराबर चल रहा था, only because this restriction was placed and therefore he cannot do the business. इसके बारे में क्या कर सकते हैं?
आपने जो केस बताया, प्रोबेबली आपने AID का केस बताया ना, ऑल इंक्लूसिव डायरेक्शन जब हम लगाते हैं, ओनली देन वी स्टॉप.
35A का, यस यस.
तो इसका आंसर यही है कि मैं आपसे पूरी तरह सहमत हूँ. दैट इज द बेस्ट आंसर आई कैन गिव यू. एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम आपके तरफ से है. सेक्शन 35A के अंदर जब हम ऑल इंक्लूसिव डायरेक्शन लगाते हैं, तो ये केस ऐसा है जबकि आईसीयू में भी नहीं, आईसीयू के बाद हम पेशेंट को चिता पर ले गए ऑलमोस्ट ये, बट हमारा और आपका कभी कभी दुर्भाग्य है या आपकी ताकत है कि आप वहां से भी बाहर आ जाते हो. ये बाहर आना इज क्रिएटिंग कंफ्यूजन विद इन रिजर्व बैंक रैंक्स कि AID जो है ना, वो बैंक को ऐसी बात है एज इफ कि आपका दोनों पे हाथ पैर बांध दिया and they are asking to run. That is not, AID only is a pre-license cancellation requirement. It should be seen as that only. We also understand that रिजर्व बैंक के अंदर काफी इस पे चर्चा होती है, ये सुधारने के लिए नहीं है, लेकिन कोऑपरेटिव की ताकत बोलिए, कोऑपरेटिव का सौभाग्य बोलिए कि कई ऐसे बैंक, और एक दो नहीं, करीब करीब 25 to 30% बैंक AID लगने के बाद रिवाइव कर गए हैं. ये मुझे भी आश्चर्य होता है. तो होता क्या है, रिजर्व बैंक को लाइसेंस इमीडिएटली कैंसिल करना चाहिए वंस वी अप्लाई एआईडी। व्हाई कैंसिल करना चाहिए? बिकॉज हम एआईडी कब लगाते हैं? जब बैंक का नेगेटिव नेटवर्क हो चुका है। हमने उसको एज पर सर्कुलर थोड़ा टाइटन किया, बट प्रैक्टिकली आप कोई भी केस मुझे नहीं बता पाएंगे जहां की नेगेटिव नेटवर्क के पहले हमने लगाया है। सो एक बार नेगेटिव नेटवर्क हो जाता है, इसका मतलब अब इस बैंक में ताकत नहीं रही, अब ये डिपॉजिटर के पैसे से बैंक चलेगी। हमको उसके बाद लाइसेंस तुरंत कैंसिल करना चाहिए, हम कई बार नहीं कर पाते हैं, ये प्रॉब्लम है। और मैं मानता हूं, आपसे मैं पूरी तरह सहमत हूं, एआईडी कभी भी बैंक के अच्छाई के लिए नहीं हो सकती। जब हम उसको लोन देना बंद करेंगे, बैंक कोई पैसे कमाती है तो बरोबर से कमाती है, जब हम लोन देंगे नहीं तो पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे? तो इस पे काफी डिबेट, काफी चर्चा हुई है। अंडरस्टैंडिंग सही है रिजर्व बैंक के अंदर, बट एक्शन में कहीं कहीं पर थोड़ा डिले है। और बैंक के आपके तरफ से ये सोचना होगा, कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर के तरफ से, कि वो स्थिति तो बिल्कुल नहीं आए। एआईडी नेगेटिव नेटवर्क, कमर्शियल बैंक भी बहुत खराब है, बहुत सारे बैंक पर जिसको आप सैफ बोलते हैं, वहां पे हम लोग पीसीए बोलते हैं, बाद में कई बैंक पीसीए से बाहर आए, लेकिन नेगेटिव नेटवर्क की स्थिति कभी नहीं आती। यहीं पर बात कैपिटल की भी हो जाती है। यहाँ पे क्या है कि बहुत जल्दी कोई बैंक 1-2 इंस्पेक्शन में ही ऐसी स्थिति आ जाती है तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है। और मेरा ये मानना है कि मैंने फैमिली डॉक्टर पे जोर दिया, अगेन इट वाज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ एन ऑडिटरी भाषण और समथिंग। एक बैंक है जहां स्थिति बहुत खराब हो गई और वो बाद में बिल्कुल सुधर गया, शेड्यूल बैंक है, आपके खामगांव के नजदीक है, नाम नहीं बताना चाह रहा हूं। मैंने वहां के सीईओ को पूछा, जब या तो आप इतने अच्छे बैंक हो कि आप तुरंत सुधर गए, तो आप खराब क्यों हुए? तो उसका उन्होंने बहुत इनडायरेक्ट तरीके से सारा ब्लेम हमारे ऊपर डाला। उन्होंने बोला कि 2-3 इंस्पेक्शन के बाद आपका एक इंस्पेक्टर ऐसा आया, उसने दिखाया कि आपके सारे लोन तो एनपीए हैं, पहले वाले कुछ ध्यान नहीं दे रहे थे। तो जब एनपीए बताया तो पूरी बोर्ड चौंक गई। और भी उस बैंक का और भी ऊपर से पॉलिटिकल, अच्छा वाला पॉलिटिकल कनेक्शन था, अच्छा वाला मैं जोड़ दे के बोल रहा हूँ, तो पूरे लोग सजग हो गए। इवन जो सर्विंग डायरेक्टर थे उनके अगेंस्ट भी केस किया, रिकवरी अच्छी हुई, लोगों का फेथ था, उन्होंने एलटीडी इशू किया, वो भी मार्केट में चल गया, जबकि डूबते बैंक में कोई एलटीडी नहीं डिपॉजिट करेगा, बट चल गया। और फाइनली बैंक बाउंस्ड बैक। तो सवाल यही है कि थोड़ा सा अगर वो पहले से रहे, हम बताते रहे कि ये एनपीए हो रहा है, बोर्ड कंप्लेसेंट ना रहे, तो शायद बात बन सकती। बट जो आपका मेन फिलोसॉफिकल टाइप ऑफ थिंग क्वेश्चन, आई एग्री विद दैट। एआईडी इज नो, ऑल इंक्लूसिव डायरेक्शन इज नो सॉल्यूशन। इसको केवल प्री लाइसेंस कैंसिलेशन फॉर्मेलिटी के रूप में यूज करना चाहिए। वो क्यों करना चाहिए? बिकॉज लाइसेंस कैंसिलेशन के पहले एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिक्वायरमेंट है, और क्या बोलिएगा आप, जुरिस्प्रूडेंशियल रिक्वायरमेंट है कि हमको शो कॉज देना पड़ता है। बिना शो कॉज दिए हम लाइसेंस कैंसिल नहीं कर सकते हैं। तो अगर शो कॉज देना है तो शो कॉज देंगे और एआईडी नहीं लगाएंगे, देयर विल बी प्रेफरेंशियल विड्रॉवल। जो डायरेक्टर के जानने वाले, करीब वाले, नजदीक वाले, वो पैसे निकल जाएंगे और बाकी लोगों को कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। तो पर्पस यही है एआईडी का। अदरवाइज मैं भी मानता हूं, मैं आपसे सहमत हूं, ये कोई अच्छी चीज नहीं।
मोदी सर, ये अनिल राव सर है, ये कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं।
बोलिए।
Yes, I'm Anil Rao from Jalgaon. I'm not the part of Pune District Urban Banks Association.
Okay.
I'm chairman of Jalgaon Janta Sahakari Bank. But
Ji.
I'm very happy that I'm participating in this. Now, my practical question to you, Dr. Ajit Kumar, is about the gradation of the Urban Cooperative Bank after the inspection, like A, B plus, B, and so on. Now that gradation is dependent on some model which is being followed by RBI. But and the CAMELS rating that is done in Urban Cooperative Bank by the statutory audit is something very old, 2009 model. Now I do not know as to whether there is some synchronization between these two approaches. Yes. And why is it that RBI is not sharing the logic behind applying some parameters, then the quantification of the parameters in the form of marks and so on and so forth, and the classes for which it is B plus or B or C, something like that. Can there be some sort of openness in this?
Once again, a very, very good question, excellent question. And my answer again, like Moiteji's question, would be that I fully agree with you. So let me give the perspective. My sense is that it may not probably be 100% same, but it should be as close as possible. Now, as regards openness, we have not given much thought to it, but we are following international practice. Generally speaking, no banking regulator is disclosing their rating system. But if you see the practical situation, at least it should be close to both the auditor, RBI Inspector Sun, and the statutory auditor's rating should be on at least on similar grounds, if not exactly the same. So during my tenure, I tried to do it my best, but a lot of resistance was there. And today also, so when I was in service, that time also I tried. I feel your point is very valid. We might not disclose the exact calculation that we should not do because many other regulators are not doing. Again, on merit, it may be discussed. If all countries are not doing, doesn't mean it is a very good practice. Again, still it is open to question. But at least it should be closer. Fortunately, the rating system of Maharashtra is little better. But in other states, it is totally different. The bank which they rate as A, we rate as B. This much of difference is there. And they blame us only, and rightly so. Two of the registrars, at least I know, who requested us, why don't you share your own rating system? Then the problem will go. But we didn't. And I discussed with my top bosses. They said, no, this is a very tough, difficult area. But on principle, your point is well taken. Very, very valid point. And it is not difficult. Why I tell you? Because some of the systems that we are rating you little just 2-3 years back, at least that can be given. That is no more in practice by Reserve Bank. Not we have discarded that, but that is very close to the existing system. Very close. So the divergence will not be very, only if somebody, they may be rating A, we may be rating A plus, or the vice versa, that much more. So this is a very good point. And this we give you a sense which direction to go. And for a regulatory side also, for us also, the burden will be less. So suppose we don't want to inspect every year, no problem. The statutory, and we can hold a statutory auditor also accountable. How can you give this bank as A when it is coming as D? Now they will respond in the present system. They will respond, sir, in my rating system, it deserved A. So either you tell me which way to rate. So your point is 100% valid. I can't agree more with you.
Just a minute extra, sir. When I was to address some session in College of Supervisors by RBI, I had a reference to the expert committee, Dr. Chakravarti committee of 2012 report, in which there is a particular model which RBI follows for rating, and that is dependent on the potential probability of the failure of the particular regulated entity. And a logic model, that statistical model is being, it has been discussed in that particular Chakravarti committee report. Just out of academic curiosity, is that practice still followed for urban cooperative banks?
Let me be frank with you. So far, we have not adopted any logic model or any futuristic model. Now we are progressing towards that. We have engaged international consultant of international repute, and they will come out with a model which will give a futuristic picture. So far, what you referred to, I have not read the report, but this I can tell you with full certainty. So far, our rating system was a postmortem based rating system, not a futuristic model. Only thing is we can't disclose the same. No country discloses the regulatory. And there are certain arguments in favor of that. What the argument is that this is not for the consumption of public at large, our rating. This is for our internal purpose only. So the auditor's rating system is the public, it has to go in public domain. But then the problem is earlier we had certain constraints also. Being an RBI, I can explain you the constraint. since in RBI, so since cooperative sector, we are not the sole regulator, and statutory audit comes under the domain of the registrar. So registrar had full freedom to adopt the model that what they want. We had no authority to dictate them. Now the things have entirely changed post BR Act amendment. So in fact, I responded to your question in the post amendment mindset. Now it is valid, but earlier I could only have sympathized with you, but I would not have advocated for this similar type of structure, rating structure.
Okay, thank you.
प्रसाद,
कोणाचे काही प्रश्न असतील तर आपण नक्की आमच्याकडे पाठवू शकतो, असोसिएशनकडे पाठवू शकतो.
आवाज येत नाही, प्रसाद.
हो, येतोय भाऊ. हा, बाकी कोणाचे काही प्रश्न असतील तर ते आपण नक्की ऍड्रेस करूयात, पण आपण थोडंसं वेळेचं बंधन आपण सगळेजण पाळूयात, आणि काही काही प्रश्न असतील ते आपण असोसिएशनकडे पाठवले तर तिकडनं घेण्याचा नक्की प्रयत्न करू. भाऊ, अजून काही कोणाला आपण कन्क्लूड करायला हरकत नाही आता?
हो, कन्क्लूड
ओके. खरं तर मैं पहले हिंदी में बात करूंगा अजीत सर, so that you will be able to thank you so much for being with us, and
आवाज येत नाही,
Not audible clearly.
प्रसाद आवाज येत नाही.
शायद मैं घर पे हूँ तो इसकी वजह से घर पे थोड़ी सी आवाज वैसे भी हो जाती है ना.
Very good.
हो रहा है, but अभी शायद क्लियर है.
हाँ, सुनाई पड़ रहा है तो. Yes.
तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपका, आपने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से का बात, and thank you so much for all the knowledge you shared with us, and put some great insights in terms of to improve ourselves in terms of business, in terms of recovery, in terms of various aspects which you shown your insights about it, and we are very very thankful and grateful. मला श्रोत्यांना हेच सांगायचंय की असे अनेक विविध विषयांवर व्याख्याते घेऊन आम्ही इथून पुढचे काही दिवस येणार. तर संध्याकाळी 5 ते 6 या वेळामध्ये खरं तर बँकेचं कामही संपलेलं असतं, आपण बऱ्यापैकी घरी पोहोचलेलं असतं, किंवा आपली चहा पिण्याची वेळ असते. चहा पिता पिता जर चांगलं ज्ञान मिळत असेल तर ते घ्यायला काहीच हरकत नाही. नक्की भेटूयात. मी आजच्या कार्यक्रमाचं आभार प्रदर्शन करण्यासाठी माननीय मोहिते साहेबांना विनंती करतो की त्यांनी आजच्या कार्यक्रमाचं आभार प्रदर्शन करावं.
Thank you, sir. Now I take leave.
आज आपके हमारे बीच में अजीत कुमार साहब आए हैं. उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा गाइडेंस यहाँ आपको हम सबको दिया है. इंटरनल ऑडिट के सब्जेक्ट पर बहुत अच्छा गाइडेंस दिया. हमारा बिजनेस कैसा चलना चाहिए, कौन से सेक्टर में हमने फोर्स ध्यान देना चाहिए, ये भी अच्छी तरह बताया. जो क्यूरीज आप सब लोगों ने पूछा उसके ऊपर भी अच्छा गाइडेंस यहाँ ठिकान यहाँ दिया है. आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू the Ajit Kumar sir, and also all the audience and bankers, staffs, directors who are participated in this lecture. I also request all of you that tomorrow there is another lecture of Chartered Accountant Sri Dilip Sadbhai. त्यांना विषय असा आहे सहकाराची बलस्थानं ही सीएच्या अँगल मधनं. कारण आता आपल्याला अजित कुमार साहेबांनी इंटरनल ऑडिट हा बेस या ठिकाणी सांगितलेला आहे. त्याच अँगल मधनं आरबीआयची धोरणं आणि आपण काय करावं, काय केलं पाहिजे, हा एक अँगल त्या ठिकाणी त्यांना आपण दिलेला आहे. त्या अँगलच्या संबंधाने चार्टर्ड अकाउंटंटच्या चष्म्यातून बँक सहकाराची प्रगती, सहकारी बँकांची प्रगती असा एक सब्जेक्ट आपण त्यांना दिलाय. त्यासाठी आपण सगळ्यांनी उद्याही वेळेत या ठिकाणी हजर व्हावं, आपल्या सेवकांना हजर राहायला सांगावं अशी विनंती या ठिकाणी करतो. आणि आपण सगळेजण या कार्यक्रमासाठी उपस्थित राहिलात त्याबद्दल आपल्या सगळ्यांना या ठिकाणी मनापासून धन्यवाद देतो असोसिएशनच्या वतीनं आणि हा कार्यक्रम संपला असं जाहीर करतो. साहेब आपल्याला सुद्धा या ठिकाणी धन्यवाद.
I'll forward.
हा पीपीटी सर आपल्याला इफ यू गिव्ह पीपीटी टू असोसिएशन इट विल हेल्पफुल फॉर अस.
ते लेफ्ट झाले बहुतेक.
बरोबर ठीक. पण त्यांनी देतो म्हणून सांगितलंय
हो,
ते
ते
घेतलं तर आपण
personally-
सगळ्या बँकांना ते शेअर करू जेणेकरून बँकांना त्याचा उपयोग होऊ शकेल.
हेल्पफुल होतं आणि सेशन
धन्यवाद सगळ्यांना. तुम्ही सांगितलं का?